What's the biggest plot hole you've seen in a movie? The stigmata scene in The Butterfly Effect, where Ashton Kutcher goes back and impales his hands so that the dude in prison will help him. It completely undermines the entire premise of the movie. Not only would he have had the scars on his hands the entire time, he probably wouldn't even be in the same situation to begin with. Everything would be different if he changed something in the past. That's the whole point of the film. The Butterfly Effect. I loved The Departed, but how did Frank Costello not realize that Billy Costigan was the rat? As soon as he infiltrates the crew, shit starts happening to make Frank think there might be a rat. And also, Matt Damon's character is the mole in the state police. If the department decided that one of their own was the rat, why did they make one of their own leader of a team man to track down who the rat is? Why not bring in a third-party team? FBI? Or another crime division? Waterworld. Why were they all so dirty? Any post-apocalypse movie, the lawns are always mowed. Nobody's going to be mowing their lawn and the lawn of all their dead neighbors after the shit hits the fan. There was no reason for Mother Gothel to tell Rapunzel when her birthday was. Hell, there was no reason for Rapunzel to even know what a birthday is in the first place. The Little Mermaid signing a contract and losing her voice due she couldn't communicate with Price. Eric, write him a damn note. You have flawless writing and you composed a damn song with a full aquatic orchestra. In the middle of a worldwide pandemic, with a high morbidity rate, who exactly built a city-size maze so that a bunch of teenagers can figure out how to escape it? The Dauntless faction in Divergent. This faction basically serves as the city's police force. They train their new recruits by having them jump out of moving trains, leaping off of buildings, and beating each other up. They also don't have guardrails in their underground facility. In the book, it's noted that the faction's leader is only 18 years old. How on earth is this sustainable? It's a wonder more of their new recruits don't wind up dead. Even for a dystopia, it's absurd. The Passengers. Not being able to go back into hibernation is what the whole plot relies on and is a massive design flaw for an interstellar ship. It means they have no contingency plan for any unexpected events and the crew are basically redundant. Titanic. Back in those days there's no way would Jack been allowed access to the top deck of the ship, because he's in third class. Batman Begins. So Scarecrow puts his fear toxin in the water supply of Gotham City, but it doesn't become active until it is evaporated. Now I love this movie, but I find it hard to believe that nobody took a hot shower or boiled water or something and then went crazy from the fear gas. In Aquaman, they're in the middle of the Sahara Desert, with no way out, and in the next scene, they're in Italy. How? A reoccurring plot hole, lazy trope in horror and thriller movies. Using the soundtrack of the movie to cover someone's approach. A character will be standing in a perfectly silent room like a kitchen with hard floors, and then rising strings will hide the footsteps of someone wearing boots and sneaking up on them this year. It bothered me in A Quiet Place that newspapers were printing en masse that the creatures were sensitive to noise. Newspaper printers are loud AF. You can't use the white noise excuse. BC, they weren't always on. Like a waterfall. Also, how were they not all trapped in a giant noisy trap, then captured and or killed before they got out of hand? Mostly I try not to notice, and just think about them later, you know, and then try to find the excuse. One that bothers me that in such a future depicted in the Minority Report he cruises. Thank you. Right back into this supposed high-security facility after having gone rogue using his original credentials. Sloppy. The Age of the Beast and Beauty and the Beast. How did Disney not catch it? The flower lasts until his 21st birthday. The candle says they've been rusting for 10 years. That bitch cursed an entire castle's worth of people because an 11-year-old was selfish or superficial or whatever it was. He would have been in elementary school. It's not so much a plot hole, but I always hate how, in Jaws, it's supposed to be July and a lot of the scenes the trees have no leaves on theme this year. You can tell it's the middle of winter. It always really bothers me. Lol. That Jurassic World movie where they came up with a raptor that can hunt people. So you use a laser pointer on a gun to designate a target. But if you can shine a laser on someone, surely you can shoot them. Like, why need the dino? Why not leave America before the purge? The people that are scared they might get killed and or don't want to participate during the purge. Why not just leave the country a couple days before and come back when it ends? In The Godfather, before Vito gets shot, he asks for 3 oranges. The vendor only gives him 2. Turned off the movie right then and there. Literally unwatchable. Saw. Why didn't he just use the saw to get the phone that was just barely out of reach instead of cutting off his fucking foot? I don't think any of the science or math in Ant-Man checks out. How the hell is the car the same speed when it's a tiny car as it was when it was a big car? How are they able to shrink that building down and then carry it around effortlessly? Does density not apply? There's so much more that didn't make sense. The Hangover. Why did he just sit up on the roof for that long? Did he ever think of, doing anything to get off? He spent like 5 minutes throwing the mattress of the roof and then just said screw it and did nothing for the next 3 days? The Dark Knight. 2009. After Joker is arrested, the Gotham City PD is unable to verify the identity of this mysterious individual. Why didn't they just wash off his makeup to see what his face looks like? They could have got a mug shot and plastered them all over the news. Somebody would be bound to recognize him as here. Jim Gordon remarks. Nothing. No matches on prints. DNA. Dental. Clothing is custom. No labels. Nothing in his pockets but knives and lint. No name. No other alias. They took a DNA sample, checked his fingerprints, and took a dental x-ray, but they didn't think to wash Joker's face and take a picture. The film adaptation of Aragon forgot to include pretty much everything from the book. I'd say that was a pretty big plot hole. Every horror movie ever, get out of the damn house. Only stupid people would stay in a house where blood drips down the walls and stuff. Alternatively, record it, sell the footage, and then turn the house into a massive tourist attraction. Then call up those paranormal investigators that offer a reward for proof of the paranormal to claim the money, enjoy the fat stacks of cash and retire to a non-haunted house. Now, carefully crafted horror gets around this. Like in The Shining, how you're never quite sure it's paranormal until the ghosts start interacting with Jack directly. Same with IT or The Haunting of Hill House, etc. But for those shitty Blumhouse movies, just get out of the house. Bride of Chucky. Long dead serial killer's fingerprints found at several crime scenes throughout the movie. Problem is, Chucky's a fucking doll. Die Hard 2. Who cares if the terrorists take over Dulles? You have Reagan and Andrews if you need it in the same airspace. All they had to do was land at either other airport. The Emperor's New Groove. How did Isma and Kronk get to the palace before Kuzco and Pacha? By all accounts it doesn't make sense. It's like Isma and Kronk fell into a giant plot hole. Another not a plot hole comment. But I have a bone to pick with asterisk a boy in the striped pajamas asterisk how is a kid prisoner gonna get away with going and sitting on the edge of fucking asterisk Auschwitz? Asterisk then the non-Jewish kid. Bruno and Shmuel just dig a tunnel under the fence like they were at a neighborhood fence. Not the flagship death center of Nazi-occupied Poland. Why the fuck are you having sex and getting pregnant in a post-apocalyptic world where you can't make any goddamn noise, or you'll get fucking eaten? Anyone else check if the dates in history and time travel movies match up? I mean, is the 2nd of September 1885 really on a Monday, like Back to the Future Part 3 says it is? Well, yes it is. BTTF has all the dates correct, but they're not immune to mistakes. On the 5th of September, Doc and Clara watch the night sky with a clearly visible moon. However, the moon is depicted as a waning gibbous, but it was clearly a waning crescent in real life. Literally unwatchable. Just watched again * The War of the Worlds *, the Spielberg's one, yesterday. During the lightning storm, an EMP disables everything, but there's one guy filming everything on his camcorder. How? Interstellar. They go to the time dilation planet first because Cooper thinks it's the best candidate. Every hour on that planet is like 10 years of normal time, though. Which means they could have easily checked out the other planets and come back to the time dilation planet as a last resort. They'd basically be getting to it just a few minutes later. In Toy Story, Buzz thinks he's a space ranger and is positive he is not a toy. However, he still freezes and goes into toy mode when a person is around. We know he can control it because him and Woody later scare Sid. All of the time paradoxes created during the Terminator franchise. The main one being that how could any variation of the Skynet apocalypse future exist to send machines and/or humans back if they're always being defeated? And if the Skynet apocalypse is inevitable, then that renders the entire series moot, if it's going to happen anyway. Astronauts can be trained to drill much easier than drillers can be trained to become astronauts. In Cinderella, the fairy godmother tells her that all the enchantments will be gone after midnight, but the shoes remain. Wreck-It Ralph has two central plot points. A character leaving their game could lead to it being shut down, and any character that dies outside their own game dies permanently. The sequel ignores both of them, as Vanellope is the most popular character in her game, but no one says anything when she leaves, and she goes to the most lethal game in the arcade, despite it being established that her first death there will be permanent.